Welcome to Rooster Radio, a broadcast dedicated to supporting and promoting local artists in the Gaston County and surrounding areas.
This episode of Rooster Radio is brought to you by Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. You know, one of my favorite things about partnering with Liquid Death here at the Rooster is a lot of people will come in and ask for water, and I hand them this can of Liquid Death, and I get that same look. Everyone looks at me like, I asked for water. I'm like, that is water. And it's funny because a lot of times the older crowd will be like, no, I want some water, please. I'm like, yeah. It is water.
It's good.
It's good water. Yeah, it's really good.
This past Friday was the first time I actually tried it, and my buddy that came with me, he's been wanting to try it too. So that's why he really likes sparkling water. So he really liked the sparkling. Yeah, he's actually gonna talk to his boss at the shop that he works at about trying to get it in there.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, the sparkling is great, man. We carry 2 of their 3 flavored sparklings. They've got
flavored ones too?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah, they've got lime, severed lime. And then they've got berry, a wild berry flavor. And I like both of them. They also have a mango flavor, but we don't carry that here. It doesn't really move. But yeah, we've got the sparkling, the lime, and the berry, and then the plain water. And we sell a lot of it too. I mean, it's really good stuff. It's quality product. And we partner with them because it kind of fits what we do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're a music venue. We do a lot of rock and roll stuff. Liquid Death, bye.
And you've got that bucket deal for 14. That's a good deal too.
That's true. We when we did the partnership with Liquid Death, what we did was we agreed to carry or keep some things on our menu that featured Liquid Death product. So one of those specials is the Death Bucket. You can get a Death Bucket. It's 4 domestic beers and 2 waters for $14. Our domestic beers are $4 a piece, so you're already saving $2 on 4 beers, and you're getting 2 free waters. Yeah. It's a great deal.
It's a great deal, and it kind of helps you keep responsible too with drinking. Because I mean, at some point in the night, you're going to be driving back home, and you need to do so safely.
That's correct, and that's one of the things that I like about the Death Bucket Special is, you know, if you're going to be drinking domestic beer, drink some water, stay hydrated. You know, it's great, and that's the other cool thing about Liquid Death is when you're at a show and you are drinking and you take a break between drinks to drink a Liquid Death. You're holding this can that looks cool, like it doesn't feel like a little flimsy bottle of water. Yeah. You know, it's cool. Liquid Death is cool what they do, and I couldn't be prouder to be partnered with them here at the Rooster. So next time you're here and you're thirsty, ask for a Liquid Death. We'll get one for you.
Oh, you want me to tell my Chris Jericho?
Yeah.
Okay. So we went to go see, WCW Nitro in Charlotte one time. And somebody had told us before we went, like, to go to South End Brewery afterwards because Ric Flair was part owner of that place. And a lot of wrestlers like to go there and drink after the show. So we went out there, and sure enough, we saw Ric Flair. He was there with some lady, I don't know if it was a girlfriend or wife at the time or whatever. And we tried to talk to him and get his autograph. He signed an autograph, but he was not very pleasant. But of course, we were interrupting him and some lady.
Yeah.
But then we saw Chris Jericho and Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit.
Oh, shit.
Chris Benoit didn't hang out long. He said hey and signed a couple autographs and then left. But Chris Jericho and Dean Malenko invited us to sit down with them. And we sat there and drank with them for a little while. Got their autographs, just talking about wrestling and what we do and music and stuff. And Chris Jericho's super cool. He knows a lot of good stuff. You know, he was obviously does Fozzy, so you know what he likes. But then after a while, he's like, "Well, guys, I don't mean anything bad by this, but I'm getting tired of looking at you guys. I'm ready to look at some titties. Do you know where a strip club is?" And I said, "Leather and Lace is like right across the street, like half a block down." "All right, man, let's go." Chris Jericho gets in my car. Dean Malenko gets in my friend's car, and we go like a block down the road to Leather and Lace. And we get out, we go in, and they're playing a replay of Nitro on the TV in the booth. And so we walk in, and Chris Jericho goes, "Hey, that's me wrestling right now. I'm Chris Jericho. This is Dean Malenko. This is my cousin. This is my brother, and this is his cousin." Something like that, you know. And so they're like, oh yeah, come on in. Then they cleared the bar out for us. Like everybody else, they ushered them out. And we had the ladies like all to ourselves the rest of the night. It was pretty fun. Dean Malenko probably wouldn't want his wife hearing about it.
Yeah.
But he got really cozy with one lady. And then after a little while, they were ready to go. So I don't know if they hooked up something for later on or whatever, but we drove them back over to a South End brewery and dropped them off and left. And
You played wingman.
Story.
You played wingman for a professional wrestler. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That is cool.
yeah. It's funny, like professional wrestling. Yeah, everyone, pretty much anyone that grew up in the South watched wrestling as a kid. And, is big, and I know that like there's a lot of people who trash talk wrestling and stuff, and the truth of the matter is it's a male soap opera is what it is.
Damn right it is.
And it's this it evokes the same emotion that soap operas do for women, but for men.
Mm-hmm.
It's you got your different characters and they're telling stories, and truth be told, anyone that makes the argument that says wrestling is fake, no, it's not fake. It's scripted. Let me see you do what those guys do every single night. Some of these guys are working 6-7 nights a week, just putting their body through all that punishment.
You got to train. You got to train to know how to fall.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be scripted and it might be choreographed, but there's nothing fake about those slam when they slam somebody on their back.
Well,
yeah, I mean they put their
there's
body through hell.
There's the Shawn Lycan story of back when he was in Fat Tortoise Butcher.
Yeah.
Like around then they had a T-shirt, FWO, and
The Fat World Order.
yeah, everybody fucking had one. And it's like one night they went to wrestling in Charlotte, and it was Shawn.
I was there. I remember this.
Was you at the?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay.
This is a different night, but
Yeah, it's like Shawn was like, "You dare me to go down there?" And it was Randy Savage and
Don't tell me he ran in the ring.
oh yeah, yeah. It was Randy Savage and some big
I
black
can't remember
dude.
who. Yeah, I can't remember who else it was. I know it was Randy Savage though.
But yeah, and he goes, and Shawn is like, "Here I go," fucking like 300 and 400 pound dude running down, hikes up his fucking khaki dickies
As he's running down.
as he's running down and gets like just his torso, in the ring.
We had to go over a barricade first.
Yeah, you had to get over the barricade, slowed him down a little bit. But he got like just, past his neck under the ropes. Randy Savage started just wailing on his head, with like just stomping his head. And because he thought it was somebody else coming in, and whatever. So it may be scripted, but somebody could like, hey, I'm just going to go in and add something. But no, it was Shawn, and it's like he got the shit beat out of him by Randy Savage, dragged out from security. He got put into the wrestling jail. Mm-hmm. But the weird thing is he got to meet everybody. All the wrestlers, like, dad talked to him. It's like, listen here, brother, you shouldn't go in there. That's like...
That's like worth getting arrested for.
I was gonna say it's almost as if it was worth it.
I mean, yeah, but here's the thing. At the time, James, the guitarist for Fat Tortoise Butcher, was pissed at him because he didn't have any FTB merch on him. It's like, why do you wear a T-shirt?
It used to be on YouTube. It probably still is, but I haven't been able to find it lately.
It got took down. They don't want to promote any of that shit.
Yeah.
I actually trained. I trained under Confederate currency Chris Hamrick, who used to wrestle in ECW, mm-hmm. And I wrestled for about 4 years. But I'll tell a funny story once we start doing this because it's too funny not to record.
We're on it.
Oh, we are on?
Yeah, we're on.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you this great story. I trained under Confederate currency, Chris Hamrick, ECW. He used to wrestle with Julio De Niro and all those guys. Well, I got on this card, and Ricky Morton was going to be on the card, Rock and Roll Express. Yeah. Loved the guy growing up. He was like my hero, right? Well, actually, not really. Ric Flair was my hero, but Ricky Morton was pretty
I
badass.
threw up on him. Go ahead.
Ricky Morton?
Yeah.
Well, Ricky Morton is in the dressing room, and I walk in, and I'm all excited. And I walk in, I have my gear, and I'm like, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna walk up and introduce myself to him. And I walk in the room, and I look over, and let's say you're Ricky Morton. I didn't make eye contact with Ricky Morton. That's what you normally, you want to make. He's pulling his pants down as I walk in. So I come in, I make eye contact, but with the wrong head. So I walk in and I go, and I look, and then I look up at him, and he's looking at me, looking at it. So I went, and then I looked up, and I didn't know what to say because I felt like I was stuck. I went, nice dick. And I just kept walking. I was stuck. I didn't know what to say. So luckily I didn't have to wrestle him that night, but I never did walk over and introduce myself or anything because I was too embarrassed because I complimented his dick without introducing myself.
Oh, my God.
I guess that's the right thing to do. I mean,
Well, what do you say?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and it was, he does have like 11 children for a reason, right? Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
They'll call
Did
it
it have
rock
a-
and roll
did it have a
express for
mullet?
a reason.
this is the perfect time to introduce yourself to our audience.
Oh, okay. My name is Matt Daigle. I guess the reason why we're here, old school hardcore punk guys. I started playing in Deadlock in 1993 and played until 98, and then we got back together in 2012 until 22.
All right.
Yep.
And you're also...
Oh, and I play with this other band. I don't know the other guy's name. No, I also sing with Queen City Rejects now.
That's right, and that's why you guys are on here. Johnny, Mike, go ahead and introduce yourselves. We'll talk about it.
Johnny, whoever you want to... Whatever. Johnny, bass player. Queen City Rejects. Blah, blah, blah. Who's next?
That's me.
Yeah.
Mike Phillips. I play in Van Huskins. We're also playing next week
And-
here at the Rooster.
Mike also hosts a podcast called Gabba Gabba Huh, which you should check out, especially if you love local punk rock.
And you should especially check it out this week because we're doing a two-parter.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But these gentlemen are here because next Saturday, or this Saturday, we should say, March 11th, we have a hardcore punk show at the Rooster. And it's one I've been looking forward to for a while. Queen City Rejects is going to headline. Van Huskins is going to be there. We've got No Anger Control. We got Self-Made Monsters and Yaller. So we've got 5 punk rock bands. They're all awesome, old school, hardcore punk bands, and I'm very excited. And that's why these guys are here today. So this all started, Mike and I met when I first started trying to get the Rooster thing going. Mike showed some interest. We started talking, and we've become friends. And I value Mike's friendship a lot. So when he talked about putting a show together, you know, I can't remember if it was me or you that said we got to get Queen City Rejects in here.
Well, no, you was like, I was looking for a date, and you were kind of already booked up through April, I think, by the time we got ready to play. But you got to looking at your books, and you had Queen City Rejects on the books. For
That's what it
March
was,
11th.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I just took over the show from there.
Yeah.
I reached out to Johnny. Y'all need another band? He's like, yeah, I don't have anybody yet. Whoever you want to get on it. And so we put this show together.
So Mike
Killer
grabbed
show.
the bull by the horns and took over, and then of course it all led up to us doing this podcast, and we're going to talk about it. But these guys, you know, if you don't already know them, which people watching probably do know who you are, but if you don't, these guys have been grinding it out for a very long time in the scene. Back, people have heard me talk a little bit about the band I was in when I was a teenager. I actually, was a few years behind you guys. We got going, and you guys were already kind of in the scene, playing shows and stuff when we were trying to get in it. So, you guys were kind of mentors to a degree for the young guys like me because you were really doing it. And back then, when I was 16, 17 years old, I'd go see a show, and I was completely starstruck. In my head, as a 16-year-old, Michael was like, if I saw you on stage, I thought you were a star.
Oh, I was the same way.
You know what I mean?
I was the same way.
Dude, I'm still the same way. I mean, even with friends, like No Anger Control, it's like I see them on stage. It's like that's classic. That's a classic band.
I'm getting a lot of that feeling back since we've opened this place, because some of these local bands get on stage and they just own it, and you're just like, man, why aren't they famous? I think that a lot when bands get on stage and just kill it. I'm just like, man, these guys, I feel bad at the end of the night not having thousands of dollars to give them. I'm like, I wish I could give you more money. But
Well, I'll tell you though, not to blow smoke, But coming in here, I was really blown away because it gives you that old school feel of when you used to go to a venue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go to a venue and you actually felt like you were seeing a rock and roll band, not just Billy and his friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really a breath of fresh air to walk in here.
I appreciate that.
And then I saw these guys and I was like, son of a bitch.
We have that effect on people.
Well, that was kind
the
of
scene.
Well, that was kind of the idea, you know.
Yeah.
I felt like this town could use, some culture. I guess I'll just put it that way. This town could use some culture, something that's different. I will admit, when my wife and I take the kids to dinner, and we're at a restaurant and they're just packed out, I just find myself thinking like, why aren't these many people at my place? Like, I just get jealous. I'm like, I want this kind of business. We don't serve food because it's a place for entertainment, and I do want to bring that feeling back. I feel like there's a whole generation, well, 2 generations now of kids who are growing up on cell phones and not getting human experiences the way that we did. When we were younger, sometimes you'd find out the next day that this was happening, you'd be crushed for the whole day. Like, I missed out on this huge thing. And, now people can sit at home and look at people doing live, going live on their social media or posting photos and videos.
Watch other people live.
I feel like there's a lot of people that do that, and that is enough for them. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not enough. I promise you it's not enough. You need to get out here and see it for yourself and have a visceral experience. And that's kind of why I design things the way I do. I get a lot of, you know what you should do.
Oh, yeah.
I hear that a lot. And when I hear that, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, they're trying to help. They're trying to be, everyone's got an opinion and theirs is valid too. But deeper in my mind, I'm like, fuck you, man. Where's your bar?
Yeah.
Not to be an asshole about it, but I get it. I look at things sometimes, I'm like, this would make this better. But really, this was all designed to be like what you said. It's designed to kind of capture moments.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be something that you can experience if you're not here.
Yeah.
So
and you've done a great job. I'm very impressed.
And it's not just one flavor.
Yeah, that too.
It's like you got, country, you got rock and roll, you got, didn't you have bingo one day?
Not yet.
We're talking about doing a music bingo. That's
okay.
That's unannounced yet, but I'm working
no,
on it.
I thought I saw something that was here. I thought I saw.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, I didn't give nothing away because I didn't know nothing about
Nah,
it.
it's cool.
You've done the paint sip?
Yeah, he's done a paint and
I'm
sip.
Paint
sorry I didn't do
sip.
that.
Done,
A paint and sip.
Yeah, we do paint and sips once a month, and we do stand-up comedy once a month. And the whole, like, when I started this journey, it was like, let me give this, let me do something for everybody. Now, I will admit this. What I'm learning is that you can give the people what they say they want, but that's not necessarily what they want, because I've booked certain types of shows multiple times and no one shows up. And I'm like, well, do I keep trying to do this? Which I do, because I want to give that opportunity to those artists. But at some point, it's gonna come a time where it's like, well, these are the types of shows that we end up doing long term, and then once in a while we'll do one of these one-offs, because people just don't show up. And I've said this a bunch of times. It's no secret that the rock and roll and the heavy metal, those are the shows that people are showing up to more than any other ones. And so
Metal always sells in this area.
What's that?
Metal always sells in this area.
Yeah, metal's they're fun shows. It's a great community. Again,
Metal has its own, or Gastonia has its own metal genre. It's called Gastonia metal. I was literally in New York. It was Ashtuwega. Buffalo, somewhere near Buffalo, in the mountains.
Just say Buffalo.
Yeah.
it's like when somebody says, "Where are you from?" Charlotte.
Yeah. But no, it was cool as shit because there was a mountain. It looked like Boone. I'm in New York, but it looked like Boone. It was like mountains. I even saw a bald eagle. Never seen a bald eagle before. It just flew right by, and somebody was saying something. It's like, "Oh yeah, we're from Charlotte." It's like, and New York people were like, said it was like something. It was like Gastonia metal. It was that. Oh yeah, that's
Wow.
the Gastonia
Wow.
medal.
When was that? Like
This
in-
was like 2013. Yeah, it was. We did a little, like, it was somebody's backyard festival. Dude from Killbillies. You remember them?
Name sounds. I mean, it sounds like a name.
It's a
Gastonia name.
It sounds like a Gastonia band.
yeah, Killbillies. But yeah, they were up there, and it's like the term Gastonia metal, and they're pretty much describing Pantera.
Yeah.
You know, but it's roundabout. But I mean, it's Gastonia metal.
It's kind of
I
like
was thinking Limp Bizkit. What's up?
it's kind of like thrash meets hardcore. Kind of. It's there's like punk elements to it. There's thrash elements. It's like it's like someone took all of those genres, like, because like I feel like, and I was a kid in the '80s, so my memory isn't as vivid as it could be, but it felt like the '80s gave birth to like all the different offshoots of metal. You know, up until the '80s, like you had Black Sabbath, and you know, then Ozzy started doing his thing, and like then all of a sudden you got Metallica and Megadeth. They're doing Testament and Exodus, and you're hearing all this thrash metal, and then bands like Pantera come along and they're like doing thrash, but it's more groovy, you know. And then from that groovy metal, you start to see bands pop up and they start talking about metalcore. And then from that, then you get into the '90s and the new metal becomes a thing. And it's like all these different offshoots, and it's like Gastonia metal kind of takes all that and puts it in a big old pot and mixes it up, and then that's what you get.
Yeah.
It's like a conglomeration of all the different types of metal.
Well, there was a few years back, there was actually a couple of metal bands that was popping out of Gastonia. And as soon as I say this, none of the names is coming to brain. Robbie Thornton was in one of them.
Name dropping. Love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's in the Menders now.
Yeah.
But he was in...
Didn't he call that music like gin music or something like that? Wasn't that? He was talking about some band. He was like gin music. I'm like, what is gin music?
well, I want to say Corporate Strain. Wasn't that a band?
Maybe, I don't know.
It sounds like another
Robbie
guest.
Collis.
You know, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like they would play DTs a lot.
Okay, yeah.
That was around 2010. A lot of the Gastonia metal bands would be playing either DTs or a pizza place called Gas House Pizza.
I never saw a show there. I went to DT's one time to see, I think, one of Dwayne's bands.
Yeah, I can't even remember that name.
Yeah, I don't know which band it was at the time. No telling.
This is the episode of almost remembering.
Well,
Well, we are aging punk rockers, so
Aging
you gotta
punk rockers.
think our brains are not very
Just like wrestlers put their bodies through hell,
holes.
old metal and punk heads kind of put our brains through hell.
I mean, we keep pushing it along anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still
And-
excited over this giant Joker I got, so I'm thinking about that. So
The off-camera Joker that we can't show anybody.
Oh, we
Actually,
just
if
be
we-
able to see his face in his part of the
yeah,
shirt.
he's on the green screen.
He's green.
Grab them for you.
Hey, there's our hero right now, man. Where'd you find this guy?
Oh, it's on my...
Me or the Joker?
Yeah, y'all about the same size.
Shut the Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
How's that?
So where'd you find him?
At a Goodwill.
Oh, okay.
I'm always...
He's at the Goodwill and he thinks
always out.
He
Always out
sees
looking for
toys.
stuff. I see something, I'm like, that's cool. I'll buy it because somebody else will want to buy it for me.
That is fucking awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Gonna be part of the green screen.
It's just gonna be a floating
can-
face.
That's what I was saying. You're just going to see his face in part of his shirt.
I would actually have old toys like that in my classroom. I taught for 21 years. And
Well, hold on. Where'd you teach?
Rutherford County.
High school, middle school?
Both.
Yeah.
I taught politics. I also taught 6th grade and 7th grade.
They don't teach kids politics.
They teach
talking
them
about?
what kind of politics they need them to follow.
Nah.
Is what you get. No, I taught AP government. And,
Okay.
And I had like a whole wall full of old GI Joes and toys, and the Joker would have been perfect in my classroom. But
Middle school had to be. God, that's the worst. my daughter's in middle school now, and these kids are vicious.
Yeah. What grade is she in?
Vicious. Sixth.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
taught sixth grade for 12 years, and they can be jerks because they go from being like these little kids, like flicking boogers at each other, to finding out, like, oh my
That's
God,
when the
like my
hormones
body's
kick in.
growing, and I
Yeah.
smell, my armpits smell like crap now, and I'm changing, and then they turn into assholes.
For real.
Until like, they're in their 20s. So I have a 16, a 14, and an 8-year-old. And they're all jerks right now. I mean, I love them. And when you watch this, I love you very much, but you are jerks.
And they all each have their own smell.
Oh, and none of it's good.
I mean, my daughter, she cracks me up a lot, but I see her interact with her friends, and I'm just like, good Lord. Like, she's like, when I was in middle school, I was not like a popular kid. I think she might be, from what I can tell. She seems very well liked, and it's like, you were the kid I hated in middle school. But I'd rather her have that camaraderie and that group of friends than kind of be like the, outcast like I was. So I'm kind of happy for her that she's getting to participate, things like that. Plus, again, it goes back to having cell phones and access to each other. I grew up out on Crowder's Mountain, so no one was driving 15 minutes to pick me up for anything, And Mom and Dad sure as shit wasn't going to take me either. So I got left out of a lot, and it was like, it's kind of cool to see her thrive, and because she thrives in it. Like she's funny, she's fun, she likes, she doesn't mind the attention. Of course, I do get call or emails time to time, like, she's gonna get after school detention. She keeps getting out of her seat. She keeps disrupting the class.
Good Lord.
She got after school detention once because she called another student's mom a MILF.
Oh my God!
I got a slip. She got into the car, picked her up from school. She hands me the after school detention slip, and I read that, and I burst into laughter. I took a picture of it. I sent it to my wife, and a couple of friends was like, "Look at this shit."
I'd see if she had been in my classroom, I would have given her extra credit.
That's right. I
wanted to meet that mom.
We were having such a hard time. Like Chrissy and I were like, "What do we do about this?" It's funny what she said. Like, we can't come down on her and make her feel bad about being funny. Like,
That's what I'm saying. You got to be careful who you use those words around.
That's what we did. We was like, look, not everyone has our sensibilities. Not everyone. You got to kind of be aware of that.
Does she know what the word means?
MILF? Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, they have access to everything.
You know what? It was recently. I learned what GILF was. So
I still don't know.
It's the grandmother.
Oh, okay.
That could be grandfather too.
Johnny's a gilf, aren't you?
No,
not yet.
not yet. No,
Yeah.
no. I'm no.
A deal.
He just looks like one.
I'm just a dilf hole.
Yeah, you are a deal hole.
But
See, you guys have to come to the show next Saturday because whoever's watching this, the Yuma is going to be there because that was one thing I've really learned. Like when I was young, playing music in the '90s, I was always pissed off, and I mean, it was always about the anger. Yeah, I still have that anger. I still do, but I also realize that life. You only get one shot at this thing. You might as well have a little fun, right?
that's the point I would make is like people like us have found ways to channel that anger into something positive, into something productive. More importantly, and that's why I keep saying how I love that I've been able to surround myself with artists and things because artists that's the epitome of like making positive out of negative. Most artists that I meet, and this doesn't go for everybody. I'm overgeneralizing, but most artists have figured out that I could pine over this and let it control my life, or I could do something productive with this energy and create something. And that's why I love and respect artists so much. Is why I opened this place. It was an opportunity to kind of deepen my roots in learning those behaviors and that kind of thing. And I'll say this much, for what it's worth, for anyone that gives a shit, it's made my life way better. Way better. So maybe it's not for everybody. Maybe your idea of dealing with negative emotions is playing golf. I don't know. Whatever it is you do, just find something that can take that negative energy and turn it into something positive.
You're doing this for all the right reasons.
Thanks, man.
You're doing it to bring something to someone.
Back to the community.
You're not looking. Of course, we all want to make $1.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to make some
But
money,
that's
yeah.
not your main reason.
Yeah.
Like, and Gastonia needs that. Our neighborhood needs this. 181 tried it, but he did it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
He just was trying to get money in, just trying to make money. Didn't care about what he was bringing in or what he was bringing it in for. And this right here, you're looking out for what the product is going to the people.
Yeah.
And-
Well, it's double. It's two-sided. It's, one is there's a big motivation for me to make artists happy and want to be here. And, there's I want the artists to respect what we're doing and want to be here. And then the other side of that is I want to give people in the community something to do that's, not the same old. How many times can you go eat chicken wings and, see, I think some of the communities have spoiled some of the people a bit with all the free shit in the summertime, and it's great that they do it. I don't want to come off like I'm knocking the free shows,
Yeah.
but yeah, well, fire off, man. I think it's good because it's getting people out of their house, but those events don't do anything to create community. It's just here's something to do, come do it, and when it's over, everyone disperses.
Yeah.
You see it when the event's over.
Well,
no one's going into the bars and the restaurants. They're going home.
It's
just there for
backfiring.
some free shit.
It's
That's all they're there
backfiring.
for. And yeah, you're right. It's not creating community at all. And my hope and my intention here is that we do create community and give people like me when I was younger who didn't have many friends and a lot of stuff to do, somewhere to go to feel accepted. That's why we do all ages. A lot of people our age, they got kids. And that's everyone's excuse. I tell you, for a while there, I really enjoyed that excuse. I got the kids. It's a great way to get out of doing shit. But what you do when you do that too much, you're isolating. You're insulating yourself from the outside world, and that's kind of. I don't want to get into this conversation, but that's kind of what COVID amplified was everyone kind of insulating themselves, getting stuck in their own little worlds, and then that's how you end up with the what's the word for what's been going on? Not distress, but I don't know, just the uneasiness or the unsettledness of the social conversation. That's how that happens. You isolate everyone. Everyone gets into their own little bubble, and then you get so comfortable in that anything that's outside
so
of
easy.
it's so easy to fall into that. Yes, exactly. You give up on trying, and it's like that's no way to live. That's no way to create community. How do we evolve? How do we move forward as a species if we're all just in our own little space? It's
And the only way to fix it is get up and go.
Yes, go do something. And I've said this before, so you don't have to come here. Go somewhere.
Yeah.
Go somewhere. Do something fun. And then because I want to inspire the next generation of artists that hey, there is a place for you to go. There is a place to go express yourself. You know.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
And
I'll
that-
step
and
off
that's-
now.
On the subject of free shows, this is kind of a little bit different than what you were talking about, but I love a free show. It's nice to go see a band play and not to pay anything, and I love playing some of the places that have free shows. Having said that, I've always felt like, from a certain point, like free shows kind of devalue what we do, and it makes it harder to get people to pay when you play a place that is like a paying venue. So again, not any slag against free shows, but there's some bands that have pretty much marketed themselves out of playing a paid show.
There's a handful of artists. I've had that very conversation with a few of the artists that have come in on open mic. That I would love to give them a night here, but their response is, well, I get paid X amount of dollars for 3 hours at a wine bar or
And
this
nobody
bar,
has to pay to come in and see you.
and they do it so much that it's like, well, why would anyone come here and pay $5-10 to see that person when the very next week they can go somewhere else for free, and I get that too, and I don't want to hate on that because they're making a living. They're on a grind, and I had Ben Gatlin in here last week. Shout out to Ben Gatlin. He is a professional musician. He gets paid to gig around town. He did a show here, and people did show up, and they did pay a cover story, and he made some money that night. You know, so hats off. I think that speaks more to him as an artist than it does anything else. But not everybody has that draw. And so I get it. Like I don't hate on anyone at all that's doing that because they're making a living or they're making that extra money.
And for the bars that do it or the places that do it, I understand it gets people in the door. And it's easy for people to just pop in and see a band for 15 minutes on their way home from work or their way home from somewhere else or whatever. But when I play a show, I don't want people to pop in for 10 or 15 minutes. I want people to come and stay for my band, see the opening band. If you charge a cover, people are more likely to come and stay for the whole show.
And that's kind of why we do the open our doors at 6, start the show at 8. There's this 2-hour gap between the time our doors open and the show starts, and that's an opportunity to get to know somebody. That's an opportunity to become part of this community, get to know us and my staff. And the bands are usually hanging out in the bar area before the show. That we've got this green room, which is nice. It's great space, and it's a place to kind of clear your head before or after a show. But for the most part, no one really hangs out in here, until showtime. And that's that community building aspect of what we do. Now, if I could figure out how to get people to hang out after the show, if anyone knows that secret, please tell me. Because when the shows are over, people clear out of this place.
That's the way it is most places. Unless there's a few like at Tommy's Pub, I'll say usually when the show's over, some people hang out. But it's like a neighborhood bar too.
Yeah,
a drink special.
Well, you
Like
have to
after
run
show-
it the whole, you can't. You have to do it in North Carolina.
Another bar over here.
Yeah.
You can't discount alcohol for a specific amount of time. It has to be the whole
working on
day.
that.
Which that would be brilliant, though. You know what I mean? Feel like because back in the day, in the '90s, man, you would play we would play like Jeremiah's. The first band didn't start until 10 usually, and they did that on purpose because they opened the doors at 7 or 8. But now the band 10 and then 11, then 12:30, and then the headliner goes on at 1. You know what I mean? By the time they're done, it's 1:45, and everybody's been drinking all that time.
But nowadays, you kind of have to do it opposite because people won't hang out that long.
That's
so you have
right.
to start the shows earlier.
Isn't it weird?
But you still can't start them too early because people don't want to come out too early.
I get it. It's
You got this little window, right? It's very
Between
different.
9 and 12 where music can happen and people will be here.
Well, I mean-
I remember back then, it's shit doesn't get started until 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock. Oh man, I'm gonna take a 30-minute nap. And this is when you're in your 20s. It's like 10 o'clock. And that was when the first band goes on.
Yeah.
And now it's like let's get it started at 8 and we could all be home by 12.
Though, in my heart, I see things as see things as cyclical. And what you're doing now, I think that this is almost like a renaissance of social gathering. And I think that in some sick, demented way, we almost have COVID to thank for it in a way. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say COVID to thank. I would say that COVID kind of gave birth to this opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm never going to give COVID any credit for anything positive.
It took my pop. COVID took my dad, so I don't give it any credit.
Yeah, it took my grandpa, and it tripled the price of the upfit on this building. So, damn you, COVID, for that.
Yeah,
but it did kind of
tripled the price of what?
The construction on this building.
Yeah. Construction costs.
Yeah.
Lumber. I mean, anything on the supply chain.
Metal. Because this is a commercial assembly zone property, I had to frame everything. I don't want to bore people. I'm not going to do that.
Didn't we do your podcast while we were under? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. I came to your practice space when we did yours.
That was what we did too with you.
Yeah, we did that one. Then you guys came to my place, and that's when you played the acoustic version of some of your songs.
Right.
Yeah, you can go back and see that episode. I believe that was season 1. Scroll back on Spotify. That one's not on YouTube. That was before we were recording video.
Right.
But you can go back on Spotify and hear those episodes. Yeah, I mean, COVID. That's another thing COVID did for us is it gave me. It forced me to get creative with how to stay in front of people. it's how Mike and I met. Was I showed up at a show that he was playing at Freeman's, and after his set, I walked right up to Mike and was like, "Hey, I'm Michael. I'm doing this." And Mike was interested, and I did that for the whole summer of 2019. During before COVID, nobody knew COVID was coming, right? I was on this mission. I had found the property. I was going through all the motions. And I was just showing up at all the local bars that had music and introducing myself. And so as a result, the social media page started to get some followers, and people were starting to pay attention. And people were like, "Oh, you're the guy doing the thing." And then COVID shut everything down. And I'm like, fuck. There's so much uncertainty, because at that point, I'd already bought the building. I was stuck with this property no matter what. And my daughter's at home doing Zoom classes, and I was like, I wonder, because I was out of work for 3 months because of COVID. The job that I had at the time, they shut us down, and so I'm watching my daughter do school online, and I was like, I could probably do that with artists.
Hey,
and
Mike, pizza 24/7. We didn't shut down for shit.
I never missed a day of work.
Well, for 3 months I shut down, and then I got another opportunity because God, this is going to be boring. Walgreens bought Rite
Why don't
Aid.
you go on my podcast?
yeah, you're right. Well, I'll shift. Anyways, long story short, COVID forced me to get creative and to get in front of people, and that's how this podcast started. And it also gave me time to get, I don't want to say good, because I don't think that I'm good at this, but it gave me practice, and it get me more comfortable, because I've said a lot how uncomfortable I am being on camera, being on mic. But now it's not so bad. I'm not as nervous.
I will say with the both of you, I was telling him, Mike, earlier that, and you, I'm sitting here just listening to you. And by the way, what happened out back stays out back. But I'm very zoned. But no, it's like the two of y'all have developed a radio voice. It's like y'all can sell some ketchup to chicks in white gloves, because y'all got that voice going on now. So I mean,
I'll take that compliment. I believe it, but
It's something that you get better with practice. I mean, just being able to just talk and come up with things, and usually collect your thoughts pretty quickly to be able to spit them out. But I still get messed up sometimes.
Cigarettes and coffee.
It's a lot of practice. A lot of practice.
Yeah, well, it's like
Go back and listen to the first few episodes of my podcast, and you'll see.
I did your show, and then the next week everything shut down because we went to because y'all played that night with no anger control.
Yeah, that's right. We did that on that
and over at Freeman's, and then the next week everything shut down.
By the way, can we just, when you just said that, can we just put over a few people?
Yeah,
Give them their flowers.
Yeah, let's do it.
We have got to put over Tiff and Levi and that group, No Anger Control. They are amazing, and I love listening to them play. And, so many bands for so long, especially when you're young, you don't want anybody else to succeed because you think that it's going to maybe somehow take that shine off of yourself. Man, if people could change that mindset and want people to succeed, you look at, I haven't gotten to see Y'all yet, which they're from my neck of the woods. They're from Shelby. I'm from Rutherford County. But I've seen Self-Made Monsters. Which one played in Maniacs Better Trash?
Eddie Ford.
Eddie. We played with them back in 94, 95. Great guys. So, everybody on that show Saturday, somebody would be smart just to come out and just enjoy the show just because of the history in that room.
Yeah,
that's the cool thing too,
exactly,
because all of us are friends, not like acquaintances, but all of us are actual friends, and that's so fucking beautiful.
I love that about our scene.
I love that mentality. There is a certain percentage of people that have that that believe that there's this finite amount of attention, this finite amount of opportunity, which, maybe that's true in some places, but I just don't feel that way at all.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about this place. I look at places like Ground Zero, Milestone, Tommy's Pub, 27 Club in Nashville, like all these other places that bands that are playing here are playing at too. I see a band that plays here or has a show here pop up on a flyer for a show at one of these other spots. I'm like, hell yeah. Yeah, I get excited for them because they're getting another opportunity to share their art with another community. I don't look at it competitive at all. And
well, it's also, just a cool, I mean, like, the three of us have in and out known each other for over 30 years, around about 30 years.
Yeah, been playing in bands around
Johnny
each
and
other for-
Appleseeds, Deadlock, and NME, like from 92 on up.
Like that. We've all been playing pretty much that long, And me and Johnny, when we first started out, before we even knew each other, I was playing in a band called Popes on Dope, my second band, and he was playing with a band called Guppy Love.
Right.
Didn't even know each other, but we were rivals at that time. Guppy Love was our rival band, and because they did some kind of flyer that said something about Popes on Dope, and we did the show where we just trashed Guppy Love. But it might have been like
That's awesome.
around the same time Johnny was in the band.
No, actually, y'all's rival started before I was in it with,
Yeah,
the,
you
with
came
that
in
little
afterwards.
fucker
Yeah.
Weasel.
Yeah.
well, let's
But then
That's
we got to know Johnny later. I think it was years before I knew he actually played in Guppy Love.
Well, I mean, you got to also look at it like this. I mean, you're doing punk rock. There's a lot of angst you're working out in punk rock. And when you're young, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I started playing, it was kind of like a way to release and an outlet for me. And once you start putting stuff together and you know that what you've got is worth hearing, you want everyone to hear it. And it's like,
Oh, I didn't feel that way.
I did. I was like, hey,
I want everybody to hear it, but I didn't think it was worth hearing. I was like,
I look
this is
back-
all right for me.
I still have these old notebooks that I used to like write songs and stuff in, and once in a blue moon I'll pull those out and I'll read that stuff and I'm like, you are so stupid. Like I read that
Like the angry lyrics.
Yeah,
Dude,
just-
I do that all the time. Like, God, I can't believe I used to sing that.
at the
Stay out
time.
of your Facebook memories.
What kind of-
Yeah, that's basically what Facebook memories is now
I
for
wrote
people.
that 10 years ago. What?
Yeah.
Really?
What was I thinking? But at the
Delete.
time you're like, yeah,
There's a lot of that.
I'm gonna cancel culture myself.
I never said that.
but at the time when you're writing it, you're like, oh, this is fucking brilliant. Like you're rhyming words and you're putting melodies together. But then you read it now, and you're like, God, I was so dumb.
Yeah.
But that, like it makes you wonder how like some bands that hold it together and make it like a 30-year career out of it, and then like they started out with like immature lyrics. It makes you wonder like how a band feels at 45 years old singing that same shit from when they were 16.
Take a Kiss lyric.
The Beastie Boys kind of went through that because they had.
You're right,
sorta
they
had to
sure did.
apologize for some of their earlier
Yeah,
stuff.
they sure did. Yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm really proud of pretty much everything I've ever done.
But-
even though some of it wasn't the greatest, I'm proud of it.
Take a
That's
Kiss
cool.
lyric and read it out of context. It's the cheesiest shit ever. and it's just like, oh my lord, but you put it to music.
I don't know. I think Love Gun was one of the most clever things ever written.
What's the story?
Love
Didn't
Gun?
they do that in Rival of Sex Pistols?
Did
Is
they?
that
I
how the
don't
story
know.
goes?
I don't
Maybe, I
know
don't know.
that.
How could they even be rivals? Like,
Well, not rival, but
They did it in reaction to,
in reaction
in reaction.
to
Okay.
Sex
or
Pistols.
maybe it was inspired by, or something.
Could have been inspired.
There's a
but
connection. There is a
Oh,
connection
okay.
between Sex Pistols and Love Gun. I don't know the
That
story.
makes sense.
That's,
Ask
I should
Jeff
read more
Clayton.
books.
yeah. I should read more. You're right.
Yeah. Should read more instead of just the headlines.
Oh, but back to what Matt was saying about the bands that are playing next week. Like, No Air Control, it's a fantastic band. If you haven't seen them yet, you're going to love them. Tiff is just, she's an inspirational
I'm really looking
she
forward
is.
to it.
She is very engaging, and she connects with the crowd. Self-Made Monsters is just one of my favorite bands in North Carolina. They're
Self-Made
grungy,
Monsters is
they're so good.
Oh my God.
Songs about like sci-fi horror stuff. You're just it's so good. Eddie's got he writes great lyrics. He writes great music, and
their
Queen
persona.
City
Their
Rejects-
persona on stage is just like you wouldn't believe that these cats play this music.
Yeah, just looking at them like it's like a lot of bands around here. You look at them, they're unassuming kind of people.
No, I'm really looking forward to this line. Even y'all are like.
I was gonna say, and y'all are. I wanted to definitely shout out y'all are.
Yeah, well, Galaxy was here, and what's his dad's name?
Jason.
Yeah, Galaxy and Jason were here Friday with the Dancing Fleas. And by the way, shout out to the Dancing Fleas. That was an amazing show. Yeah. And it's me. I'll jump off subject for a second just to say this: the Dancing Fleas are the epitome of why I opened this place. There is nothing like what they do around here. No, it's not mainstream. It's not punk. It's not rock. It's not country. It's none of that. But it's all of that.
But it's all.
It's all of that. But it's none of it. And it's just ukuleles. I mean, at one point, one of the ladies she starts tap dancing on this wood, and it's part of the song. I mean, they got a slide guitar player. They were amazing, and this play. I mean, I was moved, and what's funny about that is that when I made the announcement, some bitch jumped on Facebook and was like making fun of a ukulele band. And my response was, well, I hope nobody says that when you go to perform. Yeah. I was being gracious. But in my head, I was like, fuck you, bitch. Like, this is awesome. And then they came and did it, and they were even better than I thought they could be.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking forward to seeing Galaxy and Jason come back and do the punk rock thing. And what's cool is that you can have artists that can do these two very different things and do them so well. Yeah. And so, anyway, I needed to sidetrack that because I wanted to give the Nancy Fleas some love for what they do and then bring it back to, those two members of that band are coming back, and they're a father-daughter combo.
This was supposed to be a 4-band show originally. I mean, I think maybe you'd mentioned 5 bands. I'm like, no, we'll keep it at like 3 probably. And then I made it 4, but I saw them play in Spindale on New Year's Eve, and when I saw them, I'm like, we got to get them over to the show. For one, they're from Shelby, so maybe they'll bring some people from over there too.
Hopefully.
But, it's a father and daughter. He plays guitar, she sings. Her boyfriend plays sax and synthesizer. And then I've got a friend, Kim, she plays drums, and her husband plays bass, so it's got this family feel to it. And then they also play fun stuff. They play X-Ray Specs, they play Misfits, they play X, they play a couple of originals, but all songs that work really well with like synth and sax. It's like, I call it kind of wholesome punk rock in a way. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I'm really excited about seeing them again and sort of introducing them to the Charlotte scene a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad we could provide that opportunity. None of us are going to make any money, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. I'm hoping we have a pretty good crowd out here. I'd love to show Gastonia that punk rock can really sell out here. Maybe not sell out, but if we can get 100 people here, it'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
We don't care about the money. We want people to see what we have to offer. And seriously, like, it's going to be a lot of history in this room that night. Yeah. A lot of history in Charlotte. And some of these people are transplants, but they've been playing for years now. I mean, No Air Control has been around for 10 years. And they're phenomenal. They're probably they're the most consistent draw in Charlotte for sure.
Yeah.
And having them and Self-Made Monsters, I hope will get some people to come across the river to come see it. And maybe Yaller will get some people to come from Shelby because those people need to come and see what a great place this is. It's just like 30 minutes down the road from them. They ain't got to drive to Charlotte anymore to see shows. Yeah. They can come here and it's like just right down the road from home.
So let me throw a monkey wrench in things real quick. How do you determine on a lineup like this where we've got 5 bangers bands? How do you determine who's going on first, who's headlining? Like, how do you make that decision?
That's a little tough. When I got it, I sort of looked at this as like, well, Queen City Rejects had the date, so maybe Johnny will play last because we don't mind doing it, but right now we have some things that make it easier just for us to play earlier, just to make sure everything goes smooth. So I want us to play kind of early.
I don't mean to laugh, but
when I added Yaller, it was like they're going to be the opener. But then it was like No Anger Control was, like I said, one of the more consistent draws. So I kind of want them to play later. Okay. There was a short time when Tiff thought she might have to go earlier because she's just some health issues. But she says she's got them under control now. She wants to still play fourth. So it's going to go as planned. Self-Made Monsters go third. Really, on this lineup, I could have put anybody last. I could have put anybody wherever. Yaller needs to go first because they're the newest band. But other than that, I could put anybody anywhere. It's mostly just like when I book a show, I talk to the other bands, and if I personally book it and I'm looking for a headliner, I let them know I'm looking for somebody to play last.
I forgot who came to me about this show. Did I come to y'all or did y'all?
You had it on the books when I found out.
Well,
about
me
it.
and you we've been talking since the podcast. You know?
Right.
And and this was kind of early on, right when I was about to open. You weren't, or Queen City Rejects wasn't ready,
Right.
because I was going to try to get you in here earlier, and then I followed back up with you like a month or two later, and that's when we put the date on the books.
Yeah, somebody.
You're hard to get a hold of
Somebody was
sometimes.
out. Somebody was in. Somebody was out.
Yeah,
But also when I talked to Johnny and found out that this was probably going to be their last show, I'm like, maybe you really do need to go last on this one then.
Yeah,
So I don't think we've mentioned that yet. I might have
No, it's going to be our last one. We have hit like No Anger Control. Their 10 years. This is our 10-year mark of doing this, and it's just time. It's just, you know, there's you know, and there is a song, you know, it's time. Just time to do something else. Time to move on. Time to, you know, just time.
After a while, you probably get a little tired of juggling members and stuff. I mean,
Yeah, well, you know, that's the long answer.
yeah,
You know, the short answer, it's time.
it's time to do something different.
well, sometimes I mean
Sometimes
that
it's-
happens. Things run their course.
Yeah.
Just like relationships, you know, I mean, and that's essentially what a band is. It's, you know, it's the people in it. It's a relationship you have with each other to create stuff together, and sometimes it does run its course, you know. And
Yeah.
I wish more people understood that that's okay. Like, it's okay for things to be awesome for a while, and then, you know, if it's not working out, you know, a lot of times creatively you move in different directions.
I mean, I'd love to still be playing in the accidents, but that had to run its course too. It just-
Yeah.
y'all still are the accidents. Just, I mean, I mean, y'all still the crusties. If it's two of the same members, y'all are the same. It's the same band.
We definitely still carry it, but I'd love for, like, I mean, I'm not knocking Van Huskins. I love Van Huskins. I'd love to be playing in Van Huskins and the Accidents. Like, if the Accidents decide to get a reunion together next year, I'd be all for it. I'd be the one pushing for it, honestly.
That would be awesome.
But I just don't think Greg would do it, and I know Saunders probably wouldn't do it. But now I'm doing a show here in October, and there may be something going on for that.
I was
Well,
just
now,
I'm
would it
working
be,
on-
would
I'm
it
working
be
on something.
the accidents or would it be Los Accidents?
Well, what I'm
Los
working on, what
Accidentes.
I'm working on for October will actually be more Popes on Dope style Johnny Appleseed.
Okay, all right.
It's a 30-year thing, so we
Oh,
haven't really
wow.
talked about that. We don't have to talk about that yet. We can't talk about that. I guess I mentioned it.
Well, I was going to bring it up because we're getting kind of close to wrapping this
Yeah.
up. I was going to say that I was going to drop a little hint that in October we will be, you know, putting together another even bigger. I mean, this is a big show. It's five punk bands. It's a big show. Make no mistake. But
It is a big show. It's
yeah.
our last one.
But the good thing, just because I know a lot of people.
he says that, and then what? Queen City Rejects will be on the October bill.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, that's
Nope.
always possible. But I do want to throw this out there while we're talking about the 5 bands. That sounds like a lot, I know. But you got 5 bands that are not going to play more than 30 minutes each. And we're going to have our shit set up and ready to go so we can get on and off the stage as quick as possible.
In true punk rock fashion, they have asked me to remove the drum riser from the stage.
No drum riser.
We even added 2 songs to make it
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Well, I mean, if you'll
That's
play
right.
less than 30, that's fine too. Like, Van Huskins might play 20.
Queen City Rejects finale, they get out, they play 2 songs. All right, good night.
Hey, that's hey.
But yeah, just want to throw that out there because I'm a fan of like the lesser bands on a bill, but every now and then you got to just give somebody a real show, a good show. This
Well,
one just felt like
I
it
think
felt right.
that's another thing that's fun about punk shows is like they're usually like shorter, like 30-minute sets. You know, because I'm behind the bar every night, right? So I'm watching what's going on stage. I'm also watching how the people interact and react to things. And when that 30 minutes is about the mark where people start fidgeting and you know people will go outside or
They all got brains of goldfish.
it's this right here, man. You know, I get it, but you know, look, I try not to focus too much on any negative aspects, but you know, you do what you want, man. I mean, that's who I am to my course. Do what you want, just don't hurt others.
Yeah.
You know, but 30-minute set, that's a great that's a good spot for bands to do, because unless you're doing something completely like off the wall, like for example, Dancing Fleas, it's so different. You're kind of captivated. You're like, whoa, like you're just waiting to see what happens next. But no, I think that's a good model, especially with 5 bands, to try to keep people here for that long. And hey, our drink prices are pretty reasonable, so it's not like you're going to spend a fortune at the bar. Yeah. So, and on that note, we can wrap it up. You guys want to throw out any promos or tell people where to find you, stuff like that?
You can get our stuff on Spotify, YouTube. Actually, that's all you. I don't know.
Well, Johnny, you can get anybody, all of our stuff. It's all over any of the streaming things. We've got Queen City Rejects up on Spotify, Apple Music, Stitcher. Not Stitcher. What is it? Tidal, Deezer, what? All those things. Same with Van Huskins. We're on the social medias, the Instagrams and the Facebooks. Van Huskins, Queen City Rejects. Just search. You don't need an address or anything.
And Matt, I want to, go ahead and promote your place.
Oh, well, I have a whiskey bar in Rutherford called the Club Car. It's called Matt Daigle's Club Car because, I have to have that kind of a, everybody knows Matt Daigle, right? No, it's in Rutherford, and I do, and anybody that's listening, if you play acoustic, you want to get a gig, I pay $100 and all the whiskey you want. Sound good?
Nice.
Why don't you come out and drink some whiskey with me one night?
I say, you open on Mondays or Tuesdays?
I can be.
It's the days I'm not here.
And we did mention earlier the show as well, like in October, just as a little teaser. It's a 30-year from the first show I threw at an armory years ago, and I'm trying to get a lot of people that played that show to be on stage here for that too. So
it's like trying to
most of the bands will have a member that played at that thing.
It's just like trying to do like a high school reunion, like trying to find people.
Yeah. Well, they're all still around. This is the thing. Is like I said, we've been in the scene forever, for 30 years. But I look around and see all the same people I've been playing
it's cool.
with for 30
still
years.
Around and still supporting.
So you can still find them, and they're all still making really good music too. So
I didn't mean to
it'll be
interrupt
like
you.
you said, maybe a little bigger, maybe 6 bands, but not too many. Because there's a market.
We made it on a Saturday, so we can make it an all day thing if we have to. So.
Yeah, there's a market, but we could always. There's a market that day. But we'll figure it out.
Well, fellas, I want to thank you all for coming in today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate your time, and come see these guys Saturday, March 11th. Doors will open at 6, and you're going to see 5 bands. You can't ask for a better time, man. Thanks a lot, fellas, and we'll see you Saturday. Peace and love.
Later.